Hi everyone, it's Saijin, and I'm here to do my presentation for our summer conference. I'm going to be doing the presentation on an annual Taurus cycle that I discovered from the work of Delle Fowler. And then I'll be doing a presentation on the AstroDice, which were introduced to me by Saladin. The first year that I came to summer conference. And so these are two really fun experiments and little daily habits that can keep us familiar and keep our minds working with the astrological system and the symbology that we've been given. So I wanted to begin. I've created here for you a diorama, a model. And I don't know how well you can see it, but this is the basic structure. And then I'll turn it around and you'll see the cards that are involved. So what is this a structure of? Again, I'm using the work of Delle Fowler. I am not using the inner discipline of the Tarot as taught in the acolyte years. I came by this book on my own. As you know, I'm a passionate student of the Sabian Symbols, the 360 degrees astrological degree symbolism provided by Dr. Mark Edmund Jones in collaboration with Elsie Wheeler. And those of you familiar with either this book or those of you who've been through the acolyte discipline are aware of the work of Zoe Wells with Dr. Mark Edmund Jones when he asked her to divine vignettes for the 52 card deck. Now, the interdiscipline, Mark said that the man with whom he was working, Samson, did not want this shared publicly. And Delle Fowler studied, I don't know if you're aware of this, but she, in her prologue, quotes her testimony that she worked on an almost daily basis with this 52 card deck for, get this, 25 years. And she went to Dr. Jones and she told him that she felt at this time that there was more to be had. And he agreed, spontaneously saying that he felt that the 52 card deck, that which had been divined, was too general and lacked specificity or specialization. So she asked if she might proceed in an experiment of her own, and he agreed with the condition that she only use the keywords in the little vignette, but not the interdiscipline. And of course, she agreed. Well, this all took place, and she began her experiment in the year 1997 on June 13th. So if you will notice the structure, June 13th begins here. Those first ones are blank because when I turn the board around, you'll see those are numbered 1 through 7. But here she begins June 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, all the way until the cycle ends on August 3rd. That's 52 days. Well, what did she do on each of those days? Well, she divined the entire 7, I don't need my glasses on for this. She divined the entire 7 levels, which are referred to as 7 levels of consciousness. And they are the varying levels, all the way from symbolic, ending with number 7, which is brotherhood. So each day she would do a card and do all 7 levels. Now, what card did she begin with? Well, she said impressed upon her mind was to begin her experiment with the 8 of Hearts. Now that is very interesting because Delle's card is the 7 of Hearts. How do I know that? Because she tells us that in this book and says when the 7 of Hearts appears that she may be trying to get in touch with you and you might seek her guidance or try and communicate with her. Okay, so now I have an interesting story. Again, I've done tarot for decades, but when I found out about this, I got this book and in my neophyte years began working with the 52 card deck from Delle's work. And last year, I began doing live tarot readings with my Sabian geometry group. For those of you who don't know, my website is sabiangeometry.com, as is my YouTube channel, and I do believe some of my tarot readings are up there. Anyway, my very first one, I want to say it was my very first one, the 7 of Hearts appeared in the ready card position, or the cut card. Hold on, something has popped up on my screen and I want to make sure it's not interfering with our, I should have turned off all notifications. I have no idea if you're seeing that or not, but it's certainly going to be bothering me if I see it there. Okay. Anyway, came up as the ready card. The next month, when I did the new moon live tarot reading, the 7 of Hearts came up in the first house or issue. Well, I paused, and knowing that it was Delle, I wondered what was going on, and so did a tarot between me and her about what might this involve. And what's before you is what sprung from all of that. Taking this 52-day experiment where she worked card after card until she completed all of them, to an annual cycle. So I have to take responsibility for what's before you, but I give due and honored credit to Delle for assisting me, I do believe, in helping me to discover this. Okay, so I think we've talked about this side of the board. Now I'm going to very carefully try and turn this around so now you can see the cards that she actually worked on and how the cycle of her 52-day experiment went. And let me check the camera to make sure it's okay. Good. Well, that was nice. Now if I can get by without bumping it, that's the other thing, right? That's the other matter. Okay. All right, let me just have a sip of coffee here. Whew. So there we go. Get that so that, there we go. So now we're going to work the other way. We're going to start from up here. So let's do a little math. So we have 52 weeks in a year. That makes 364, one left over. Oh, let's see, we have 52 cards in a deck. And if we multiply that by 7 weeks, we end up with 364, the one left over. What would that be in the card deck? Well, that would be the Joker. So on leap year, we can put the Joker in, scooch him in, and on February 29th. And I would leave up to you and your discrimination where you would put the Joker in the deck to make for your 365-day cycle. Maybe your birthday, maybe an anniversary of some sort, maybe a holiday of some sort. But that's entirely up to you. So you can see as each person would do that, all of our bearing models would change slightly depending on where the joker was inserted. So this is a great model to begin with. Another thing about what's great about this is it keeps you familiar with the vignettes. There are 52 of them. And so it's a really good practice to just stay fresh on a daily basis of having these symbols, these vignettes, these keywords come before your eyes. And because it's a system, it's given. This isn't oracular. That will be the AstroDice. But this is a given system. So one day follows the next, and you just look through the symbols and off you go. It either sticks or it doesn't. It doesn't matter. That's entirely your prerogative. But it is a good tool of teaching and disciplining oneself to stay familiar with the tarot. Now, you'll notice these cards are colored. All of the card suits are colored, and we know that spades and clubs are black and hearts and diamonds are red. Why do I have all these colors? It's because I love colors? Well, I do love colors, but that's not the reason. The reason is to bend the eye to the element involved, okay? Spades is the element of air. And although we see a blue sky or whatever, air itself is clear. So the spade suit is blank or white or clear. Okay, clubs is fire. Clubs is the element of fire, and so all of the clubs are filled in red. Diamonds are of the earth, and so they are green. To get our minds thinking earth, diamonds is earth. And hearts are water, and so the hearts are blue to remind us of water element. That's all. I'm not debating what color the 52 card deck is. Okay. So let's just kind of, let's take a look at the first week of Del's experiment, okay? Or the first week of our year. And we begin up here, June 13th, 1997. This was her first day. There's the date. And there is the card that she was impressed upon to begin with. Okay, so if we pause for a moment and say, she did all 7 levels on that day. How are we gonna expand that cycle from a 52-day cycle to a 52-week year? Well, it's given. There's another wonderful story that Del tells in her book of the Jack of Spades, how at the end of her first day of her experiment on June 13th, after having divined all 7 levels, a symbol, a seal, appeared briefly to her mind. And she saw it and recognized immediately the connection to the story that Mark and Zoe Wells had told of how when they finished doing their whole experiment of the 52 cards, a seal was given to them. And she told Dr. Jones this, and they did not record it and were not able to go back and recreate it. So when Del had this experience at the end of June 13th, after divining the 8 of Hearts at all 7 levels, she was quick to write it down and draw it out and try and preserve it. And she asks, fairly enough, is it the same seal as Zoe Wells and Dr. Jones saw? She says, I have no way of knowing. But when we go to the Jack of Spades in her book, this is the one part I will read. It is a spray of joyous colors, and the keyword at the symbolic level, at the first level, is insignia. Thinking about it, I suppose this card is really the epitome of the symbols. When Dr. Jones wrote of Zoe Wells obtaining the 52 symbols for the deck of cards, he said that when they ended the session, an ancient seal was described by Miss Wells as a mode of certification for what had been put down, but no record was made and later attempts to reproduce it were uncertain. Quote, however, this was the beginning of a conscious recognition of the ancient sources as a self-contained and living integrity available for use, end quote. When I was beginning this project, a seal was given to me. Is it the same one? I have no way of knowing, but when this card is involved, it is high indication of that living integrity that is available for our use. This seal is shown at the end of the prologue, which is the portion I have been referring to up to this point in the talk. And this is the seal that was given. Okay, so I recommend you get this book. It's full of wonderful things. Okay, so an ancient and living integrity. So we're going to take the Jack of Spades and put it here where it belongs. It was given for these 7 levels of the 8 of Hearts, but to expand it from a 52-day experiment to a 52-week annual cycle, we are going to use the Jack of Spades as overseer of the week. This is my creation. You don't have to do this. This is my experiment. So we go 8 of Hearts at the first level, 9 of Hearts at the second level, 10 of Hearts at the third level, Jack of Hearts at the 4th level, Queen of Hearts at the 5th level, King of Hearts at the 6th level, Ace of Spades at the 7th level. I'm going to give you a little heads up. Not only did I take the liberty to expand it in that way, and I do believe in partnership with Del and the Invisible, but I also took this Ace of Spades as the 7th level, right? And I put it up here as a bridge card. You'll see what I mean when we go to my art on my dry erase board of what I mean by that. So I have 3 cards each day, an overseer, a bridge card, and a day card. So what happens when we get to the second week? Well, the model, the structure informs us. The next thing to do would bring in the Queen of Spades. She will oversee the second week. Likewise, the King of Spades will oversee the third week. Makes sense? Now, and we continue. Now, these are overseers. You see, they stand a little taller. Those 3 are very important. They make a connection that I'll show you on the art. And so these next overseers are going to be laying down flat because they're going to appear somewhere else in the art. Ace of Clubs, oops, is overseer. 2 of Clubs, overseer. 3 of Clubs, overseer. 4th of Clubs, 4 of Clubs, overseer, and 5 of Clubs, overseer. All right, now you can see how the cycle is going to start spinning because we only have 3 at the end there. August 3rd, we're done with 52 days. And so the 5 of Clubs continues to be overseer back to the 8 of Hearts. You see how everything starts scooching, everything starts moving, the wheels start turning. Okay, I'm going to just pause and let that sink in and see if you're following me. You will be receiving a pamphlet where I have the calendar year laid out with all 3, the overseer, the bridge, and the day card. So you can follow along and you can fill in the keywords for yourself and read those interpretations. Okay, so now that I've shown you that and explained to you how I got this cycle moving from a 52-day experiment to a 52-week annual cycle, adding to the 364, which are 7 weeks of 7 days. So then we're going to add the joker to make it 365. Okay, so that's how that works. Again, you place the joker where you feel appropriate. Now, I'm going to get up. We're done with this portion. So let me just rearrange this. Okay, to get it out of my way so I don't knock everything over. And let me come over here and just reorient the computer to show you what I've been referring to so you can see the entire cycle at once. So close your eyes if you get dizzy. I'm just gonna move it around. scoot it over, sorry about the noise, and lift it up a little bit. Can we see everything? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Okay, good. Now, I'm gonna pick up my wand or my suit of clubs, and we're gonna talk about where are we at in the cycle right now. I hope I won't need my glasses for this. Okay, let's review for a minute. You just say, what is all this? What is all this? Okay, so I cannot remember how this creation took form the way it did. But what I refer to it as is the temple tarot. And in any temple, I hope you can see it here. Here's the temple, is this structure, right? A spire, a triangle shape. Is that there's always an annex building where you come in from the world and you do your stuff and you enter into the temple. Kind of like when we have a quiet period before full moon or a quiet period before our quarterlies, or anytime we take a break before we enter into a different sort of conscious awareness to allow ourselves to be more receptive. And so that would be what goes on in the annex. Now, let's follow Dell's experiment as a reminder, a review of what we talked about. You'll notice here the Jack of Spades, the Queen of Spades, the King of Spades, the first three overseers of weeks. Jack of Spades oversees this week. My Scotch tape. Yeah. The Queen of Spades oversees the second week. The King of Spades oversees the third week. Remember I had those cards laying down? Because now they're just placeholders. They're not connected to the annex. There's no card here, 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 or here. I'll show you where they're at in just a second, if you haven't already found them. But the point is that the Jack, the Queen, and the King, which we know are substance, they are the entryway from the outer world into the inner world. And what do we know about the Jack of Spades? An ancient source of living integrity. So when a person has found that in themselves, they can begin their journey with the rulers. Meanwhile, they're just working up these linear pathways, but connection happens here. All right, so I also called out to you that when I got to the 7th level of the Jack of Spades in the first week, June 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, I was amazed because that's Juneteenth, a very special day, a very special day. And so I took that Ace of Spades, I did this, I hope Dell and the Invisible approve. I took that Ace of Spades and made it the bridge card. Do you see? I made it the bridge card. Ace of Spades also serves almost like a little circle in a circle as the bridge card. That's how that portion of my experiment works. But it doesn't stop at 7, it keeps on going, so the bridge cards keep advancing as well. Makes sense? All right. Now, what happened to our Ace of Clubs? That's our next one. Well, now we are in the temple. We've been in the temple. We've been connected to the temple now 3 times. Jack, Queen, King. By the way, this card represents the outer, what was the word? I'll look it up. Outer strength, the greatest power of all, stand on the shoulders of the giants. So do you see ancient living integrity? This one is heartache, a racial consciousness that we must solve. We can, healing hearts. This is our great work in the assembly, is our healing work. And then the greatest power of all is stand on the shoulders of giants. That's one of my astrology friends. I love
my world. Okay, so see what I do when that happens, because I will get back in touch with Brett, but he knows that's a sign that something's going on. I can't talk right now. I'm going to draw a chart real quick, and I will study that later. Okay, anyway, okay. So, stand on the shoulders of giants. Where's our Ace of Clubs? Okay, come over here with me. Just follow the pointer. We are inside the temple. Now follow what's happening here. As we go up, as we ascend, Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down the other side, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace. Okay? Now, look across. I know I King and then Ace, right? Ace of Clubs. Now, Ace of Clubs is here, but in this order, it would be Ace of Clubs down here. Stick with me. Don't let that bother you. I want you to look across now. If we look vertically, we've got aces, deuces, trays, 4s, 5s, 6, 7 in the middle of the temple, the sacred 7. So up here, spades in the order we know them, spades, substance, 7 of clubs, activity, 7 of diamonds, fortune, 7 of hearts, water, ideas, legates of ideas, understanding. And whose card is this? This is Del's card, right in the center, the apex of the temple on the inside. On the outside is substance. 8, 9, 10s, jacks, queens, and kings, right? Now let's look at it this way. We go across, Ace, 2, 3, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, 2, 3, 4, 10, Jack, Queen, King, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, or 9, 10, Jack, Queen. Do you see how these are linear and the suits are mixed? But this way they're vertical and they're all in a row. Many interesting things occur in this art. One of the things I want to call out to you is that in all of them, there are 2 really important things. And that is Queen of Spades rules her own bridge card, Queen of Spades. Another one I discovered was King of Spades rules himself. We must master ourselves. And I found that just amazing. Stand on the shoulders of giants. Become a giant whose shoulders you would be willing to stand on yourself. That's amazing. Anyway, I am sure there are a lot of mysteries in here, but why was Del called to, one's ego or tendency would be, well, I'm going to start with my card. Del didn't. She started with the card after her. Not self, but other. Now, what are those cards? Del's card, the 7 of Hearts, is an hourglass inverted. You have all the time and chance that's needed. Just keep turning it over. Just keep giving yourself a new start. All the time and chance that's needed. What's the 8 of Hearts that she began with? A good and evil angel standing silently together, waiting for you to choose. And her interpretation says, you must choose your dream. So that's the first step, is choose your dream. In spite of everything, believe in yourself and choose your dream. And give yourself all the time and chance that's needed. So that is the end. Oh no, that's not the end, because what I want to do is do today's reading for you. Let me put this back up here. Okay, what I want to do is today's reading for you. Okay, so we have the ruler right now. Let's count it out. June 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's the end of June. July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Today is the 7th. So we have the Ace of Clubs over here. Ace of Clubs. Day card is 6 of Clubs. Bridge card is Queen of Clubs. So let's mark that. The ruler is the Ace of Clubs. The bridge card is the Queen of Clubs. And the day card is the Six of Clubs. If we go to Delle's book, we will find this. Let me put my little pictures up there for you. First of all, the Ace of Clubs is a child skipping rope, an 8-year-old girl skipping rope. Okay, that's the symbolic, that's the vignette. The Queen of Clubs, the bridge card, is a child with a basket of flowers. And I always see a flower girl at a wedding when I see that card. But that's me. You'll see what you see. And the Six of Clubs is a shaft leading down to deep treasure. Okay? I don't know if you can see those. Let me put it up a little bit. There we go. All right, there we go. So let me read those to you. Our ruler for this entire week, of which we are on day 4 of this week, that began on June 13th. This isn't a Sunday through Saturday thing, okay? This began on June 13th. Liberation, says the overseer. Set yourself free. Nothing can jail your mind. Make your perspective work for you. So that's the Ace of Clubs. So I guess I can put her in here now because I usually do this. I put it on there for the day. And I'll put it up there so I can read it. I just stick it on my bathroom mirror. I go in there, I can take a look at it and remind myself. The Queen of Clubs, the bridge card, hesitancy. I changed the words here to suit me, to let my perspective work for me. She who hesitates is lost. Yes, you are free to choose which blooms and what to do with them, who to give them to. Okay, so it's my choice. That's liberation, is to make one's own choice. Okay, and the Six of Clubs. Now, how does the day come together with those instructions to liberate ourselves and to not hesitate, but to make our choices and let our perspectives work for ourselves? The Six of Clubs is restriction. Less is more. Those are my words. Less is more comes to my mind when I read this. Get down to basics. Use by restricting. Use, not use. Use by restricting your inclinations. So I could go hog wild and do all kinds of stuff here. No, restrict yourself so that you can focus. So that's the best use of today. Okay? You don't want the flower girl running around outside throwing the flowers to the birds. She's part of a wedding party and she needs to be focused and use the restrictions of the moment to do her part fully. Okay, now we're going to do something. We're going to go into the other room, and I hope I have enough power on my computer to facilitate this move. I'll stay in the picture so you can focus on me and not lose sight. But the first thing I want to show you is welcome to your Sabian Astrological Library. This was a miracle in the making, and I do believe that the Invisible Fellowship helped it all come together for me. So I'm sorry if I'm moving it too quickly, but these are Mark's Astrological Reference Library. And I do recall that Stan in particular wanted to know the whereabouts of that, and so I wanted to be able to show him that they are safe and sound here in Texas, and it's a reading library. Some, but very few of these books can be shipped out because they are so old and fragile, but you are welcome into my home anytime, and we will have a wonderful time. So what I think I need to do is, well, I guess I can put this down here now that you've seen the library. I want to do this one on the floor. I'm sorry that I'm moving you so much. My daughter said, don't move them, they're going to get sick. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, honey, I'm sorry. So that was your, okay, because I want to sit here when I do the AstroDice. Now the AstroDice is different, right? It's oracular. It's oracular. I will be sending you a pamphlet of all of the information that I have gathered to date in each of the categories that the AstroDice would reveal. But it's like a smorgasbord. You choose from that pamphlet what resonates with you for the day. And don't worry about the rest. It's not supposed to be an overload of information. It's supposed to be a cafeteria supply of information. What do you feel like having? So I'll be sending that to you along with my talk. But let me go ahead and put my scarf on. This always reminds me of one of the Sabian, or the 52 card deck symbols, which is a fan and the promise of a scarf. So my wonderful, my daughter who lives in England, her mother-in-law, Linda Williams, sent me this scarf when I was doing, a year ago, when I was doing the tarot, and I always, that symbol always stood out to me. I'm like, you know, it's the one that says, "Drat that girl. I hope she finds it." And then in the mail came the scarf. And so do you see how beautifully matched they are? So have fun with the symbols, you know. Of course they're not literal, but that doesn't mean they can't be. You know, for me, they are living. They are living. All right. So also from England comes the little pouches that my daughter Crystal made for us. It's called, the fabric is called Velvet Rose. She let me pick it out from all the different bolts that she showed me, the fabric pieces that she had. And so I have created these sets of dice. Now I have to give credit to Mo Saladin, my very first summer conference. He introduced me to the AstroDice, and I think I only got 2 from him at that time, the 30-sided die for all of the Sabian symbols, and I think the 12-sided die for the houses, I want to say. Anyway, so they've grown. The experiment has grown, and just last year at conference, we talked about them again many years later, and he sent me a set of AstroDice that now include the planets with the glyphs and the signs with the glyphs. And of course, we have the 12-sided die with the houses and the 30-sided die for the Sabian symbol. I've added another smaller 12-sided die to represent the Laya centers, because the Laya centers are the 0 points. It tells us where we fit in, what our division of labor is. And to me, that's so important to be able to do a reading, but then to know, now knowing all that, where can I make the most difference? Where can I make a difference? There's my little Joker card. Oh, that's another experiment. I have so many experiments going, but anyways, so when I do my AstroDice, you know, so we're going to do a roll here, and we'll talk about it. And I don't have my pamphlet with me, but I'm going to just do it from my knowledge. We'll just see how it goes. So here's our little pouch. We open it out, right? And now once I take it out, I don't let them touch the floor, because they're already touching me. Now, why does that matter? And I would suggest that if you get a set of AstroDice, that you don't let anybody touch them, not because they can't, but you can always cleanse them in salt, rock salt. The reason is because, and it came up in one of our lessons recently, I was so happy to hear Mark say the word in the lessons, psychometry. And psychometry is, it's not a proven science, neither is any of the wonderful things that we do, because the world's not entirely awake to that yet, but we are. And so psychometry is that I'm a living being, and I'm holding this inanimate object in my hand, but there's language here. There's 30 different possible symbols. There are 12 possible houses of environment. There are 12 possible planets that all mean some sort of activity. There are 12 signs that are functions. And then there are 12 Laya centers, a division of labor. So once I'm touching them, that idea of psychometry is that the energy that I am, and it can be nothing else but, because they came from a pouch, into my hand. And now, when do we use the dice? Well, you can roll them first thing in the morning if you want. You can roll them once in a blue moon if you want. It doesn't matter. They are a tool. And a tool is only as good as you put it to use to make something. Now, the other day, I was really full of a specific energy, very intense. And I thought and heard myself tell myself, roll the dice now. I got up and I went and I rolled the dice. And it was an amazing reading. So we can use it in open times, just like I'm holding this dice. Tell me about, give me some information about this day, about my place in this day, about what might be going on in this day that I could be alert to, help me to be more aware. Or we could be really full of something. Now, I'm thinking if you're really full of joy, you don't have time to go roll your AstroDice, you're going to have fun having joy. But if there's a really intense experience, it may help to explain it to you. So I take these, and sometimes I'll change hands. Sometimes I'll put the 30 die, because it's so big, right? In one hand and the rest in the other, and I'll switch them, whatever. This is total optional creativity. And then I will let them roll. Now, let's see, I guess I could do like this, okay? So then I let them roll. Okay, so what I have is Laya Center 11. We know that 11. Now, I will also say that Ted Green has a wonderful essay on the Sabian website in the forum about another alternative way of looking at the Laya centers and what signs they're connected to, and seasonal, and it has to do with vibrations, and a wonderful study that he's provided for us to consider. But anyway, I have 11, and so that would be drama. Well, that's kind of my division of labor today. I'm putting on a performance for you. And drama doesn't mean like, you know, when we say in our current vernacular, oh, she's being so dramatic. Drama is the impetus of being. I just read that as I was transcribing our astrology lesson in directional astrology, and I wrote it all down and stapled it to my Laya center that Maite gives us each month. I actually got this very Laya center 2 months in a row, and she always said if you get it 2 or more times to pay attention. So here we go. I've got that. Okay, so now we've got, let's look at function. Function is in Scorpio. Okay, that's creative spiritual insight for our ultimate connection with the all. Beautiful, beautiful. That's the functioning that's going on here. And then what is the form, what in our environment, what's going on? 12th house, mystery, right? Mystery, the hidden. Huh? So there, the 12th house. What activity is taking place? Mars. And I love that because today is Tuesday, and Tuesday is ruled by Mars. So is that not beautiful? And I'm just transferring these over. And then the 29th degree of Scorpio. Well, 29th degree of Scorpio. The 30th degree is the Halloween jester. The 29th, is 2 cobblers at a bench, at a table. And the keyword is capability. So we take this reading, and this reading is no good for anything if it's just me alone. So here's my offering. Take what will serve you, what might help you in your daily journey as a solar initiate, the solar mysteries, and enjoy. And blessings to all. I want to share a piece of art as we leave. Years ago, when I sent my book out that I'd written, which is On the Shoulders of Giants, to a friend, he sent me this painting that he did back. And it's a man and a woman standing on the shoulders of a giant and looking at sunrise. And on that note, I have framed today, Mark Edmund Jones told us that sunrise is a frame for self-realization in each day. So today is Cancer 16, Profundity, a man standing before a square with a manuscript before him. So we're not only given the challenges of life, we are given, if we seek them out, the way to go about solving those things that we must square ourselves to and come to a greater understanding and expand our consciousness. This is Saijin signing out. Thank you so much for being a part of my presentation today. Bye-bye.